It means a lot to me to share these moments with the Kehillah in Berlin. I visited Berlin in the past, and I actually visited Berlin some years ago in Kristallnacht, Beleil HaBedolach. And the closest thing we have witnessed in our lifetime to Leil HaBedolach was Simchas Torah in Eretz Yisroel just 2 weeks ago. So since the Holocaust, we have never witnessed 1,000 Yidden, not soldiers, not warriors, but Poshet Yidden, fathers, children, Anoshim, Noshim V'taf, were just murdered in cold blood, brutally murdered. And just the awareness that this happened in Eretz Yisrael is so shocking and so profoundly sad and tragic. We are living in a difficult time with a tremendous hester upon him. And the Jewish people have one beating heart with the same pulse. And in times of tragedy, it becomes so obvious that kulanu b'nei ish echad nachnu. We share the same history. We share the same destiny. We share the same past. We share the same future. And I know that a bomb was thrown at either the shul or the Kehillah in Berlin, which once again, when an incendiary of Weiss, a bomb is thrown at a shul in Berlin, brings back terrible memories. So on one hand, when tragedy strikes our people, that Rambam writes at the beginning of Hilchos Taniyos, we should never say, it's an incident, it's coincidental. We need to believe HaKadosh Baruch Hu is calling out to us. We believe in Hashgacha Protis. And each and every one of us is called to make his own cheshbon and nefesh. It is far easier for people to make the cheshbon nefesh of others than their own. So many people amongst us, know exactly why HaKadosh Baruch Hu does this and why he does that. I'm not a prophet. Lo novi onochi v'lo ben novi. And I think we should leave the cheshbon nefesh to each and every individual and to each and every kehillah. I think it is legitimate for the Rav to come together with Bnei Kehillah and discuss, is there anything we need to be mechazik in our kehillah? And every individual needs to ask himself, is there anything I need to be mechazik in my own life? So on one hand, the Rambam says, when tragedy strikes our people, it is HaKadosh Baruch Hu calling out to us. And everybody needs to be better, learn more, daven better, bein odam l'chaveroi, shmiras einayim. Each and every one of us knows what are his shortcomings, his failures, and where and how he could be better. What is inspiring in these difficult times is really the spirit of Achdus and the overwhelming feeling of Kol Yisroel Arevim Zeh. And wherever there's a Jewish community, big or small, Miktseo Olam Bad Kitseo, we all feel the pain. We all have the determination, and we all realize we have the same destiny. And Jews the world over are one. In times of war, Achdus is the most crucial and important fact. Chazal teach us, Moshe Lagudah Shel Koni. So when you have one single piece of straw, even a baby could break it. It's so fragile. But when you have a bundle of straw, 1,000 pieces tied together, even Shimshon Agiva can't break them. Kishiasor baguda achas enkol uma veloshin yochole lishlot behem. Achdus is benafshenu. To my dismay, it is usually an external threat that brings us together. So the Meir Shapira once asked an interesting question. The chazayin of Achras Hayamim is Begar Ze'ev Em Keves V'Namer Em Gedi Yirbatz. The wolf and the lamb will live together in peace and harmony, and they won't harm one another. So the Meir Shapira asked, it already happened once in history. When was that? In this week's Parsha, in Teves Noach. All the animals were there. The Zev and the Keves, the leopard and the goat, the Namer and Gedi. They didn't destroy each other. So what's the gewaltige vision and chazoin of Achras Hayom? The Meir Shapira answered. In Teves Noach, they were all aware that right outside the ark, there's a terrible storm. And that storm threatens them all. They're all in danger. So the wolf didn't even have any appetite. Didn't even feel hungry. So when there was an external threat, it was natural that people come together. There will be no external threat. And then the wolf and the lamb will get along. And the leopard and the goat. That's the chazayin of Achras Hayom. So Baruch Hashem, we are ba'achdas. And it's a blessing. And it gives us confidence. We should only hope and do our best that some of this achdus will prevail and will be with us after this ordeal and this terrible war would be over. But right now, achdus is a blessing, and it's so inspiring that in every Yiddish kehil in the world, people come together, daven for us, learn for us, and it means a lot. Many times this week, I remember the 6-day war, Sichas. I'm looking at some of your faces, and it seems to me that most of you are younger than I am. I'm already an old man. I don't feel old, but knowing the numbers, I'm not that young. I vividly remember Sichas. I was a bar mitzvah boy at the time. And the two things that are in my mind so vivid are, on one hand, the pachad, the fright. 3 huge armies were amassed on all the borders of Israel. And there was a real pachad that maybe we're facing another Churban. And the amazing achdus none from right, left, everybody stood together. Reb Chaskel Avramsky at the time had a smile on his face, and he was totally calm. He wasn't worried at all. And when his family asked him, "What's wrong with you?" why aren't you afraid? He said, when I see the achdus of Klal Yisrael, I am confident we'll be okay. Because that is what Chazal teach us. And that is the promise of Chazal. There's a medrash by Yikro Rabbo, Ma bein Doresh shel David le Doresh shel Achav. The Doresh shel David, they were all great Talmidei Chachamim, but there was machlekes amongst them. And they used to go in war and they were vanquished. The Doresh shel Achav, they were oived by the sun. Lo hayu b'neihem dilturim. They went to war and they were victorious. So we need this achdus. What else is my message to you? Have b'tochen, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will look over you. So Germany today is quite a paradox. But many, many Jews, I mean, more Jews have flocked to Germany in recent years than to any other European country. It is still a far smaller community than we have in England or in Belgium, but so many Jews have come to Germany. And we believe everything is min hashamayim. Everything is min hashamayim. And it's a mitzvah to be mechasek these Jews, many of them immigrants from Russia that have no really frum background, and there's so much kiruv going on, especially in Berlin. So we need to believe Shoymei Yisroel HaKadosh Baruch Hu watches over all of us. Take every precaution, cooperate with the authorities that have b'tochen. Be'ez Hashem, no one will be hurt. HaKadosh Baruch Hu watches over us. The Arvus demands that wherever we are, we do our most for Achenu, B'nai Yisroel, that are living in Eretz Yisrael. Because v'derech hateva, we are in danger. The most dangerous place in the world for a Jew to live, and I sadly say this, is in Eretz Yisrael. Not only now in times of war, but we are under constant terror attacks. And once again, it gives so much chizzuk to realize that although Eretz Yisrael is a dangerous place, it's a bad neighborhood. We live in a very bad neighborhood. After Pecan, thousands of families have made aliyah, and Jews from the entire world come to visit Eretz Yisrael. Sichas, everybody was here. And nobody will chase us out of our home. This is Eretz HaKodesh. This is the land that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us. This is where we want to be. And all you guys living in Chutz La'aretz, I know you don't feel at home. This is a temporary station. Ultimately, we all want to come back to Eretz Kodshenu. So you need to have us in mind, daven for us. Say to Him, we need to believe in the koyach of tefillah. The Bar Shem HaKadosh taught us. It's a Gemara in Brochas Davav. The Gemara defines tefillah. Ma'id achsiv kirum zulus lebnei adam. Dvorim v'oimdim berumi shel olam v'bnei adam mezalzelim behem. Zet tefillah. Why are we sometimes mezalzelim tefillah? Each and every one of us. We all have this experience. When a family member, a loved one, is desperately ill, and especially if it's a young person, we daven and cry, and not always do we see our prayers fulfilled. My late wife passed away at a relatively young age. She was 60, and me and my family, how did we daven? Every few weeks we came together at the Kaisel, and really, and she passed away. And sometimes that gives you a chulsha. We davened and we screamed and we cried and nothing happened. We need to believe, says the Baal Shem Tov. No tefillah sinks into oblivion. No tefillah goes unheard. No tefillah even goes unanswered. But we may never know what HaKadosh Baruch Hu does with our tefillahs and how he answers them. We daven for one thing, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows better. He grants us something else. We daven for Pliny, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu merits Almighty. He knows what is best, but we should believe. All our tefillahs go up to the kiss of God. And that is why Chazal teaches us, you davened, your prayers weren't fulfilled. I think in every shul in the world, we should say at least 3 Pirkei Tehillim every day for Yisroel and for the Jewish soldiers that bear the brunt of this terrible war. They should all come safely home. So in my shul, I was metaking 3 Pirkei Tehillim. We should have been saying the whole Tehillim every day, but we know it's Teched, it's Sabura, and people are busy. So we say Perek Chof, Yanchu Hashem B'Yod Yisrael, Perek Kuf Lamed, Memamakim Korosichu Hashem. These are 2 special prokim that are fitting for every Eis Tzara, and they're not very long prokim. And we also say Pei Gimel. Pei Gimel deals specifically with war and with our enemies that say, Lechu v'nakchida migoy v'lo yisachar shem Yisroel oid. And that's what this war is really about. Hamas are not fighting for freedom. They're not fighting because they want the state. They're not fighting for sovereignty. They're fighting to kill Jews. And this is all about Lechu v'natchidei migoy v'lo yizachar shem Yisroel. And that is why I chose this perek to be said every day in my shul. I recommend that you do the same. And it also intensifies the feeling of Arvis, of Kol Yisrael Arevim, Zeh B'Zeh. Learn Torah for us. And especially for the soldiers. I think we need to appreciate their sacrifice. What is so amazing, Simchas Torah, when the brutal attack was carried on, this atrocious, horrific acts, the army wasn't really there. And so many soldiers that were in civilian life, they weren't in active duty. When they heard what's happening, they just put on the uniforms, took their arms, and drove down to fight. A few days ago, I was Menachem over the Slotki family. They live in my shchuna. Father is a Rav of a shul. His 2 children, Noam and Yishai, were in shul in Be'er Sheva. They heard what's going on in the cell, put on the uniforms, took their arms, drove down. Nobody told them to do so. They didn't get any orders. But that's the way Jews are. And they were both killed in action. Both left almonas and little babies. And I went to be Menachem Olav, the father and mother. And such emunah and such betochen. I just sat there and cried. And the commander of one of the boys walked in. A battle-hardened soldier. And when you see a commander, a soldier, crying like a baby for losing a friend, it's very moving. And I just cried with him. And that commander, his name is Ben. Maybe I already said too much information, which I shouldn't. He told us that he has leukemia and he's exempt from service. Shouldn't be serving. But he volunteered. So that's Mesirus Nefesh. And the Gemara says in Brachas Tafcha, for Mesirus Nefesh, we are Zeicha to Nisim. There's a shmuz from Reb Chaim Shmulevitz that he said before the 6-Day War. Not before, but actually right after the 6-Day War. And I remember that shmuz. And it's printed. And he said those young soldiers that are Moiseh Nefesh for one another, and the Moiseh Nefesh for Klal Yisrael, are like Haruge Lud, Haruge Malchus, of which Chazal say, Ein kon beria yochal lamay b'mchitzasa. They are the highest levels of Olam Haba. And that is Mesirus Nefesh. And so many young soldiers, many of them Talmidei Chachamim, volunteered and fought with Mesirus Nefesh. And some of them didn't come home. And when I speak to Yeshiva Bucharim, I say, be proud you're in Yeshiva. And we believe your Torah makes a difference. Chazal teach us, inferiority complexes are not justified. But you need to appreciate those boys your age that are out in the field fighting, and some of them are dying. And you owe it to them to make more effort. So each and every one of us needs to daven more and daven better. Learn more and learn better. That's our duty. That's our obligation. And that is how we could make a difference in this terrible war. So we still need a lot of this. Nobody really knows how this will play out and what to expect. But what we all know is that many, many, many young soldiers will be in terrible sakana. And the entire Yishuv is in a sakana. There are rockets falling in our cities. And so all Klal Yisrael comes together. And we all daven and we all learn. In my koilel, which is an amazing koilel, I think one of the chushivste but the medrash in the world. Each of my Avreichim got the name of a soldier. I'm learning for Amichai ben Leah. I'm learning for Yankov ben Tzipora. Each Avreich has the name of a soldier to make it more personal. What you doing might make a difference, might be a lifesaver. Your Torah and your tefillah. So if you wish to do the same, I will send you a list. Because I'm getting lists every day, people turning to me, asking me to daven, which I do from the depth of my heart. And I am inspired really by the tzidkis, so many of these young people, and their Mesirus Nefesh, and the shyness that they ask. So we all need to daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Sheyarachem Elamai, So the Tana de Belio says, Arbo Melech מישראל שיצאו למלחמה, אם יש ביניהם סוג אחד של תלמיד החכם, אני מציל את כולם. And that is in Perek Yud. And Tana de Belio bases this teaching on psukim in Shiras Devarim, time of war. Oret ben Avinoam and Devarim Hanaviyah led Klal Yisrael in battle, and they were victorious. And Shiras Devarim. Romach im Yemotzei, Magen im Yemotzei, Romach barbo Melech miYisrael. So 40,000 Jews went to war. Zug echad shel talmidei chachamim could make a difference. Harbe zugot make a greater difference. So in the Israeli army, there are so many young, dedicated, from soldiers, real tzaddikim. But they need our support as well, our tefillas and our Torah. So I want to give you all a bracha. Kodesh Baruch Hu shomer Yisroel, shemoyer she'eretz Yisrael, v'al yored Yisrael. So Kodesh Baruch Hu should look over you in Berlin. Berlin has known more Jewish tragedy than almost any other city in the world. And Kodesh Baruch Hu should look over you. You should only know Sholem and Shalom, Hashket ve'Vetach. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu should look over all of us. Daven for us, learn for us, give tzedakah for us, and we should all be zeichet together. I'll be happy to see you all in Yerushalayim. And we should be zeichet l'kiyum divrei hakosov. V'natati sholem ba'aretz, v'simchas olam liYerushalayim. We should be zeichet to the Geula Shalema, the Meher of Yameinu. Amen.
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 Thank you so much, Rob, for your precious words of Chizzuk, which we will try to take to heart and be Mekayim. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for joining. It's been a big, big Chizzuk for all of us. Thank you so much.
Kol Tov, all the best, and we should be zeichet l'kadosh Shem Shemayim.
Amen v'amen.